America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Invent America, because America invents. This segment is brought to you by TrueView. It is the only accurate 3D real-time image blind spot mirror. And, you know, if you think about those semis coming up next to you on the driver's side and all of a sudden it's there, the TrueView will make it easier to sense and see. Cargocatch.com is where you go and buy your TrueView life-saving mirror. So my guest right now is Duane Genzlinger, and I have known Duane for a long time. Today we're talking about kind of second generation products. And I know that, you know, you guys did with the snapper, you had a version of it, you went to the show, and now you've got another version. So tell our listeners, Duane, what is snapper? It's not something that you catch on a fishing line.
Well, it's a chalk line that one person can operate without getting somebody else to come over and help you snap the line. So our new version is, some people were having problems using it. So we changed the mechanism. So you push down instead of pull. There's a lot of people who didn't have that hand maneuver. You know, we made it easier.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, there may be some folks out there that, you know, a chalk line in construction is giving you a straight line that is longer than your traditional ruler or, you know, yardstick or tape measure. So it can tell you exactly where to, you know, lay your hardwood floor, to lay the carpet. There's a lot of reasons you need a chalk line to do something, right?
Correct. And, you know, this is, so one person can do this. It's got a snap device right on the chalk line itself, which will pick the line up and snap it for you. And,
and not everybody's got a second person available to hold it, but the original version of it, you had to have two people, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm an old carpenter, and I've picked up a lot of tricks. You know, you use your feet and rocks and everything else, but this is just, you can hold it within arm's reach, and then just with your thumb, you can snap it. You know, it's just got a little lever, and it makes your line.
So when did you and Jerry realize that, you know, the next generation was kind of going to be needed?
Well, we were working on it, and everybody, you know, you see people's hands, you know, they just couldn't get a grip on the way, you know, because you takes your thumb and you just pull up on it and snap it. So a lot of people just didn't have that maneuver. So all now it is, you just pull it and you just push a button and it snaps. So it's a lot easier.
That's great. And it's longer as well, right?
It's bigger and longer, right? We've made it probably half the size bigger. And now we could go up to 100 feet.
Awesome.
So it works real well.
All right. So your original one, you made some, you were selling some, right? You guys could make them yourself in the shop?
Correct. We were doing 3D printing. We kind of need, we need somebody to kind of take it and do a injection mold. You know, we haven't got that far yet, but we're working on it. It's a hard way it takes time.
It does. And, you know, it's always about who you meet and who you greet. So what's next for you guys?
I don't know. Your show.
You are going to ASD Market Week with us. You've got a spot right there at the end, close to that badge pickup area and the tool section. So
Mm-hmm.
I am looking forward to introducing you to Tolson Tools. They only do wholesale, which is kind of cool because that means they're going to buy 500 of these at one time instead of 5. So
Well,
I look forward to introducing you to all of them.
yeah, I worked all weekend on a sample for the slider too. So I've got different applications, and I think maybe people can look at it and kind of know what it's for. Before it was just a piece of plastic. So I think, once they see all these different applications, I think it'll be needed in a lot of places.
So tell our listeners, what is the slider besides a hamburger from White Castle?
Well, the slider, you electrical box. When they do wider trim, you'll see the house itself. You have to, a lot of them will cut the plate so it overlaps on the receptacle. And what we're doing is it's a device that moves that switch over so you don't have to cut the plate. It's just it's an electrical device.
Okay,
It's a
so
faceting device. We don't need UL improved.
okay, that's great.
Good.
I was just going to say, I know enough about electricity to say, okay, this doesn't work. I'm going to call somebody.
Well, yeah, this would be mainly for electricians. I'm trying to get one in every truck. So, in fact, this morning I got a call from a guy in Fort Collins. He wants 4 more of them. So that's, it's encouraging.
Yeah. Is this something that you and Jerry can do, with rapid prototype machine as well?
Yeah, they're 3D printed, and I finally got a 3D printer, so I don't, I'm trying to get that worked out so we don't have to farm it out. So
what
we're
do you and Jerry do that allows you to come up with these, a better way of doing it?
well, just experience. You walk down we're in the construction trade, and you see something that might make our life a little easier. That's kind of where we're at. At one time, I saw an electrician. He was tearing out drywall, moving a plug because it was too close to the trim. And I just thought, man, there's got to be a better way. And that's why I've come up with this. And
And isn't that how most inventions are, developed? Is like there has got to be a better hot dog.
oh, exactly. So that's where and we've went through probably 15 different stages of this product, and now I think we've finally got the finished product, which works real well.
Excellent. So right now, where can someone go to be able to find your product and order one?
My website, Duane Genzlinger 76 at gmail.com.
That is your email address.
That's my email,
All
or
right.
you can call me on my number. Give my phone number,
Go ahead.
970-402-5088.
Excellent, excellent.
And
And likewise, if anybody wants to be able to find the snapper or the Duane, number 2,
snapper, number 2,
snapper or
slider.
the slider.
The
Okay, everybody,
box slider.
you can shoot me an email as well, and I'm happy to put you in touch with Duane and Hammerskill Homes. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back with our next guest.
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Everyone, and thanks so much for being with us for this episode of Invent America, because as you know, America invents. So we've got a really cool product that we want to bring to you and talk about. But first, I want to let you know that this segment is brought to you by Wooden Wood and WeNeedGutters.com. Man, if you've got gutters that are dropping that rain over where it shouldn't go, WeNeedGutters.com is where you need to go and take a look at the cool new products. And my guest right now is Eric Barnhart. And Eric has got a very cool new gadget that we are looking forward to getting out there and into your hands. Eric, tell everybody about what the Bumpin Belt is.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Rita, for having me on. Bumpin Belt is world's first Bluetooth belt buckle speaker, and I came up with the idea. I love to play golf, and we listen to music out on the golf course, typically in our golf cart, but really wanted to have my own walk-up music to the tee box and be able to share, have music in my personal space. It's not a product that's been designed to blast music out onto the golf course to take away from anyone else's experience, but really for just for your personal space and your group of friends. But really, it's just a hands-free Bluetooth belt buckle speaker that is magnetic, so it magnets onto our design belt and can magnet onto anything metal. And when you're not wearing the speaker, it has a faceplate, so it's a fashionable belt that you can wear anywhere that you'd like. And so just really wanted to create something unique and interesting that, allowed folks to go out and experience life and have some music, but still be aware of their surroundings. And we found a lot of folks that are use this on the golf course, also hiking, biking, going for a walk, gardening around the house, doing chores, anywhere where, those, once you put those headphones in, you can kind of are shut off to the world a little bit. So where you want to have aware of your surroundings, but also be hands free and have some music with you. That's where the Bumpin Belt, I think, is a great product.
Well, I think there's an easy ability to see the difference because you put a headset on or you put in earbuds that are playing the music or whatever, and then something happens behind you or on the side of you, and you have no idea until it's right on top of you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
or somebody's trying to yell at you and whatever, it makes a big difference. But why is it better and different than just turning up the volume on your phone?
So it's louder than your phone, as well as it has controls on the top of the speaker as well. So you don't have to pull your phone out of your pocket or wherever you're keeping it. So let's say it's in a backpack, if you're going for a hike, you can go to the next song, volume up, volume down, pause the music. So it has all of those controls right there at where your belt buckle is, and you can control that without having to get the phone out from wherever you're storing it.
Well, you've gone through, changes, at least I know one generation that, from your original order that you had to making it better. What was that like?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you, as a first-time inventor, if you're the closest to your product and to the thing that you're trying to make, and you want to, you're taking in all sorts of inputs from what's already currently out in the market today, what your vision for this product is, and you really, there's so many different things you can try to control and design and change and make sure that it's absolutely perfect before you go to market. Unfortunately, that takes time and energy, and you're not going to get it perfect to what your target market is out of the gate. It's a difficult thing to do, and you really need that feedback from your user base and from your target market to say, hey, here's what I love about what you've done. Here are the things that I would, suggestions, and obviously you get that user feedback pretty quickly, and then have the opportunity for version 2 to make those adjustments. So we the magnetic pull on the back of the speaker is strong enough to hold on to your belt and also on anything metal. But we wanted to make that a little bit stronger just in case, let's say you are playing golf and you start to hit a bunch of bumps or you're driving off road. You want that to be secure on the golf cart, and so able to do that, as well as figured out through working with different manufacturing partners, what are the capabilities of the speaker? How do we make the speaker sound better and louder for your personal space, as well as the Bluetooth range? Increase that so you can move further away from the source of your music and still retain that sound quality. So those just take time and effort, and sometimes there's new technology that's kind of being developed and put to market after you've already gone to market. They're always making improvements and enhancements on all the other components as well. So.
Well, I think you hit a couple of things right on target there. And one is that you've got to get it out there so that people can give you feedback, because perfect doesn't happen in any world, and technology changes. So you can make something better And if you had waited, somebody else would have beat you to market, because one of the things we've learned is that, for the folks that are coming up with a solution to a problem or making something better, somebody else is thinking about it too. So, getting the patents filed and getting the feedback so that if you're just asking your mother, what does she think? She always thinks you're wonderful. Now you ask another consumer out there on the
Yeah.
golf course and they say, oh, it'd be really cool if it hadn't fallen off when you flipped over a rock.
Right. Exactly. That's
So
so. Yeah, it takes time to do that too. To make tweaks and changes, and then work with manufacturers. Is it feasible? Get samples. Work around holidays that the manufacturer may have. So it's just it takes a little longer than you would anticipate or plan for. So let that be
absolutely.
to any inventor out there. Just it's going to take longer than you think.
Absolutely. So what's next? How are you going to get it out there? I mean, you did a first round and you were selling them online, but what's next?
Yeah, so we have some interesting parties that are looking to license our patent. So we do have 2 utility patents on the Bumpin Belt and another patent pending for another product that I'm looking to launch. But there's 2 separate camps, right? There's the design and development and bringing a product to market, the inventor side of it, and then there's the sales and marketing and relationship side to try to build at the same time. So uh, you could be great at one or better at one than the other. And, from a marketing perspective and sales perspective, been able to meet some great people who already have established retail and wholesale accounts and relationships that'll help get this out to those folks who might not be seeing any of the social media advertising that I'm doing, or find it via search engine or website. So excited to see where this goes in 2026, and yeah.
Well, you were talking about the fact you can't do everything. And I know there's been multiple times when you said, I've got a day job I like.
Yeah.
And so being out there and selling this all by myself, well, the manufacturing is a full-time job if you're going to do it right. Sales and marketing is a full-time job if you're going to be able to do it at all. And then actually, oh yeah, running the business, keeping the books is another full-time job.
Right.
And for most inventors, by the time they realize those price points, you know, the consumer is God when it comes to pricing a product and what they're willing to pay for it. And by the time you bring on some of those other people to help you, you're not making any money at all. It's really amazing how those numbers are just, you clunk down on them. And so for you, you keep your day job, you do what, you do what you're good at, and then you let somebody else, run it to market and do what they're good at.
Absolutely.
So it's been interesting. How long have you been working on this? I always find it fascinating how long an inventor, is working on something before we finally get it to a point of being ready to go out there in the grown-up world.
Yeah, it's been a little over 4 years. So there was you know a good 7, 8 months to prototype design feasibility, getting can these components that I'm trying to include in the speaker be shrunk down into the form factor to accomplish what my goals are. And so yeah, it's definitely it takes longer to bring a product to market than folks realize, depending on the complexity of it, obviously, of course. So uh,
Absolutely.
so yeah, it's been about 4 years, and learned a ton along the way. Still learning every day.
There you go. That means you are 6 feet up instead of 6 feet under.
That's
And
it.
everything we do, we keep on learning. So if you are out there and you are an inventor, all right, and you need some help, get in touch. Rita at inventorlady.com, 303-910-8889. My phone number is out there everywhere. And listen to us on King's Broadcasting Network, because we give new information every single week. And you, my friends, get to meet those inventors and find out where you can get their products. Eric, quick, give us the website.
At bumpinbrand.com, bumpin brand brand.com. You can check it out there. And we are hopefully we'll have some exciting news here in the near future.
Excellent. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back with our industry expert, Noah McNeely, and Product QuickStart. You know what? There is always a lot going on, and we are going to be right back after we pay some bills.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org.
Everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. My next guest is Noah McNeely. He's our industry expert, so he helps those inventors when they say, okay, I need to do it better. Here it is. Let's make it better. So Noah, thanks so much for being with us, and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I've been developing product for about 25 years. My background is in engineering and design, so I kind of speak both languages of product development. And in my career, I've done all sorts of products, everything from medical devices to toys to consumer products. And I'm all about making stuff. So everything from design to engineering to prototype development and then coordinating manufacturing. So like I tell people, I can help you fill a warehouse full of product. I don't help you sell it. I don't help you license it. That's up to people like you.
Well, and I don't do manufacturing or prototyping, so that is up to you. And that is why we work so well together. So how often do you find an inventor that either one says, oh, I'm not ready yet, it's not perfect, or the one that goes out the door and gets the information and then says, okay, let's make these improvements?
A little bit. I get. It's a weird question because I get everything. On one hand, I get inventors that come in and they're like, they think their idea is perfect and they don't want to hear advice. They just want me to do what they've done. And in 5 minutes, I'm like, well, there's 800 better ways and cheaper ways to do exactly what you've done and to do it better. Some people don't want to hear that. That's okay. They're not good clients typically. Others are very surprised that we can add improvements, and they're very eager to have that happen. And we get in and we do that. And some of the improvements are better features. Some of it just makes it work better, makes it more durable. But a lot of times it's about making it where it can be manufactured at a reasonable price because they come in, they've got this thing they put together or this idea, and it's $100 product, but it's not $100 market. So we need to find a way to make that a $10 product or a $20 product. Or whatever the market will bear.
All right, now that sounds like a magic trick to me. How do you take somebody's rapid prototype that they're saying, well, I've gotten some pricing and it's going to be $100, and they've heard now that it is basically a $20 product in the retail marketplace. How do you help them get there? What's the magic?
Well, there's a few elements. One is what we call reductive innovation. It's engineering for value, engineering for cost out of a product. Sometimes that's part of it. That's just simple stuff. Well, not simple, but it's direct stuff like can we use less material? Can we use different material, et cetera, et cetera. But sometimes, to be honest with you, it's almost more of a therapy session where I'm trying to convince them that they don't need that feature because that feature is adding $18 and that only addresses 5% of your target market. So let's drop that feature. And some people get very attached to their ideas, and we just have to go through this process. So I'm like, that's great. We'll make the product you want, but you'll never sell them. So I don't know why you want to do that.
Be honest, straightforward. And,
I'm getting too old not to be honest and straightforward. Time's limited.
I agree. And I understand because there's times when it's like, the manufacturing prototype needs to hit a price point. And, the consumers out there, they're going out there and they don't understand that, how much tug of war has gone on getting it down to the sweet spot. And where, one product might be in Nordstrom's, another product is a Walmart.
Sure.
And it could be the same darn thing in the box. It's just one is made out of a different material. But I think for a lot of inventors, when they go to you, they don't realize that, if the door opened this way instead of that way, it would take $5 off the price.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it really is something simple like that. Sometimes we have to do a lot more work to find those dollars that we can take out. Every project's different. Some people have things as simple as coat hangers. Other people have things with circuit boards and motors and, all sorts of widgets on it. So it's again, I work on all sorts of stuff. So it's hard to have a short answer because they're all different.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guy last year that had a really cool set of building blocks, and they were different. All right, but he made all of his in his wood shop out of wood, and it's like, but then when he got to the point where he wanted to sell them, parents just wanted them because they were cool in the way they taught math. All right. They didn't care if they were made out of wood or plastic, and the wood made them very expensive. So when he went to the trade show, everybody said, I'm not going to pay that amount for them. My kids are going to, flush them down the toilet and bury them outside and play with them in the sandbox. We want them to learn the math, but we're not paying for the wood. Well, then when he got the pricing on the plastic version of it, holy cow, it was right in the sweet spot of what he needed.
Yeah. And again, people, a woodworker is going to get attached to doing it in wood. And a lot of products can be made out of wood, but sometimes you have to target a more like a luxury version of that product. You might not sell as many, but you have more margin. And then you come down and do the plastic version, and that's your mass market version. Either can be a successful business, but you've got to have the business planning behind it. And at the end of the day, if it's something nobody's going to pay for, there's no business.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we have had inventors tell me something, cool that they've done, and I'm thinking, I'm really not sure there's a market for that. And then I've had other ones, tell me, and it's like what they've done with their product, and it's like, okay, you need some help on this because this should be a multi-million-dollar product, and it's not.
And then you've probably got the ones that say, my grandma loves it, so it's got to be a good product, right? My grandma and my mom and her neighbor, they all love it.
Exactly. So if you're out there and you know anybody that needs some help with a prototype, getting their product into the marketplace, Noah McNeely with Product QuickStart, he's your guy. Give us a call. Let us know. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.